My friends. I hope you can hear me because I always have to do videos when I'm on the move, right? So anyway, I'm in the hot tub at the YMCA. This is where I do some of my office work, office work for my spiritual work, right? Anyway, yeah. So a long joke, So that's what I was telling my brother. I said, I gotta put this joke in here real quick while I'm talking. I always tell him, I said, because I go to the beach on the weekends when I'm not working. And you had to finally take a break from work all week. And I said, yeah, I got to go to my beach in the office because I'm homeless. And I said, I got to go to the beach in the office. And I said, all my friends and all my former high school students, my college students, and all my classmates and people I knew, I said they'd be jealous if I didn't tell them, if I told them, how I'm living my life. I said, yeah, I got an office on the beach. And I said, I was in the office in here's my hot tub, right? I have because this room's in my office. And then I said, we live in a gated community. And the reason it's a gated community is because, at the Jewish mission, they have the gates open and closed every night. So you have a gated community. So yeah, I said, I have moved up in this world. I'm in a gated community, have an office on the beach, hot tubs every day. I said, man, I'm living the damn dream. Which is kind of, it is good, but obviously I have to drive around and work for this. I'm telling you what, and sleep in a vehicle is not fun all the time. All right, well anyway, so here's the thing is I wanted to do a quick video about, this is amazing, okay, and I always have to do videos because I'm on the run. Here's what it is. This is gonna be hard to grasp, but this is a true story. About over 3 years ago, I was at my mother's house in Colorado, and I went over to visit because I had another house that was just down the road, right? It was only about 3 blocks away, and that's when. So I lived there by myself. So I drive over to my mother's house sometimes to visit her and Bob because the only family I had, the company I had, and stuff like that, right? Former wife kicked me out of the house. Couldn't even see my children, all these other things. We don't know how to go about the negative stuff, but it's just the truth. So I really got close to my mother and Bob's. Just sometimes we go and have dinner with them or whatever, right? Well, one night I went over there, and this was amazing because I had a friend named Brett who she lived in Portland, Oregon, right? And so I talked to her on the phone a couple times. Well, anyway, I was talking to her on the phone. My mother and Bob, they're sitting there watching TV, watching the television, right? And I was talking to Brett on the phone. This is around 7:30 at night. So, and I get this call while I'm talking to Brett, and it was amazing because it had my same phone number, right? And I'm like, why am I calling myself? I said, this something's weird here. What? So I told Brett, I said, hold on a second, I told my mother, I said, this is weird to say. I said, I'm calling myself on my own cell phone. I said, my own phone number. I said, what's going to happen here? So I put Brett on hold and I answered, right? You are not going to believe this. True story, because I know my own voice. I hear my own recordings, my own videos. Of course you know your own voice, right? Some people say, I don't know my own voice. Well, anyway, it was me about 8 years older. Somewhere in there. My same voice. And I said, Kirk, it was me, Kirk, I said, leave the code, 1424. And I said, what? I said, the code? I said, what do you mean, the code? I said, leave the code. I said, what do you mean? Where do I leave this code? I said, what are you talking about? I said, what about this code? And I just said, just leave the code. And I said bye to myself and hung up the phone. I was like, what? You got to be kidding me. I said, what is happening here? Did I call myself from the future? So I started talking to Brett. I told her on the phone, and she said, I don't know what the code means. She's a very analytical, lady. And so I got done talking to her, and I hung up the phone, and I told my mother, I said, my God. I said, I just called myself on the cell phone. And my mother, even this day, we talked about it all the time. She's like, I said, now, 1424 to me is kind of a code to me personally that 14, my brother was born on the 14th, which was, it's Valentine's Day. I was born on the 24th of March. And Phil, my other brother, was born on February 14th, right? So I was like out of my mind, confused about this. I said, "This is weird. What do I leave the code? What's the code have any purpose, right?" So anyway, so I hung out there for a little bit for my mother, and then I drove home that night. It was only like I said, 2 or 3 blocks away, and so I'm heading somewhere. So I went to bed. So the next morning I said, "Man, I said this is really bothering me." I said, "But this is weird." So I drove to Boulder, which is about 10 miles east of Erie. I'm sorry, west, 10 miles west of Erie. I went to McDonald's because there's a physicist guy. He's the dean of the University of Colorado. The University of Colorado, dean. I mean, it was physics, right? Very intelligent guy, very intelligent. Didn't know him very well, but anyway, so he's sitting there eating breakfast at McDonald's, right? So I started talking to him. I said, "Man, I have got to figure. I'm going to ask him. It's going to sound weird. He's going to think I lost my mind, and I don't want to talk to Kirky. You know, this guy talking about calling himself the future and this stuff, and all this. So I approached it really casually. I said, "Hey, got something strange." I said, "Please don't think this is weird. I'm on drugs, been drinking, or anything like that." I said, and I'm lost my mind. I said, "But I called myself in the future last night." And he acted like it was no big deal. I mean, so he goes, "Oh." He goes, "Oh, you have too?" I said, "What?" He goes, "Oh, you've called yourself in the future as well." I said, "You have?" He goes, "Yeah." He said, "I talk to myself in the future as well." And I mean, my jaw just dropped. And he goes, "You know what?" He goes, "It's okay. That means God's got something special for you planned." I said, "I know, but what?" I mean, he said, "Are you kidding me?" But the thing is, during the conversation and those other things that so much talked about, I cannot believe that I segued off that topic to ask him what he told himself and anything like this. Now, I mean, and the thing is, like, and about the code and all this. I mean, so I cannot believe I didn't ask him more details of what it is. So someday I'm gonna have to call back to the University of Colorado and talk to him and say, "Hey, what is this deal about you calling yourself in the future, right?" And especially, my point is this. I'm going to ask you, is there anything that you think might possibly occurred that you may be a time traveler as well? That God has us somehow traveling through time or through dimensions or something? Because this one blows my mind. Now, the reason I bring this up is because even the story A Wrinkle in Time, which is a book I read in 6th grade, I've read very few books. A Wrinkle in Time talks about, she wrote on a true story about her dad wrinkling and traveling through time trying to help people, okay? It's kind of like the Sliders even, right? Now, I don't know, and what is also interesting, I was heading more at this, we got Back to the Future Mandela Effect. I was heading something else with this. Is it possible? Now, this is what kind of concerns me, though, because we should only do things that God allows and they do us. So one of my thoughts was, I was talking to a brother from Boise, Idaho about this over like 3 months ago. I said, here's the problem, because even in under physics, if you studied what would happen. They did like these model theories, just theories, if you actually traveled through time. And they think that if you would split timelines, also creating alternate realities, Mandela effects, see these other things, right? So, and what would happen is that you would end up in a world where the universe would have to fill in, or your God, I say universe, people say universe, well, somebody has to be, the universe or God or creators, and all the angels and architects, they'd have to fill in that time reality shift. So you would have the people that you think that are like your family, like my former wife, my kids, even your brother, your sister, your mother, your dad, would be nothing but, it sounds hard to grasp, so I swallow this, kind of like cloned in time and space. That they would just be clones. Because they're really not there, and they're not because they couldn't exist in two different places at the same time. Like even yourself, you couldn't exist in the same spot at the same place at the same time. So they become clones, and that kind of seems what in this world. I'm seeing a lot of NPCs, you call them human prison bars, agents of the Matrix, soulless ones, and things like this. So my thought is, oh my God, I hope that I didn't do something that I'm not aware of. Sounds like, how would you not be aware of this, Kirk? But that I slipped through time, and maybe you have too, and we kind of we rippled the time, and that's why we have all these things. Some even say that Trump is a time traveler, that his uncle had stolen time travel documents from. How you doing, my friend? Nice to see you. What's that? Oh, you get your laps in? All right. That is good. Yeah, it's nice to see you again. So what I was getting is Trump may have stolen these. So if he did it, then maybe that's why we got it. Well, politicians are puppets anyway. But maybe that's why we got just complete loss in control with these politicians and stuff like that. Is Trump may be a time traveler, right? We don't know, and I don't know if God will allow that, because we already have this Satan versus Lord Christ Revelations things going on, and all these other things, right? I mean, this thing is just so. I mean, my goodness, we got the simulation going on. We're living in a simulation of Matrix. So we got all these things, right? So and also, I can actually explain this in the computer field about how these code. I'm going to do that about code splitting. It's called branching. You branch off code lines to have something different occur, and you bring it back to the main code line. It's called merge, a code merge. And it's kind of, we're seeing the singularity of all these different branches, all these different realities, and also that things may have branched off. We had different realities. Now they're branching back into the main code line. So that's why we're seeing pyramids pop up out of nowhere. We're seeing history like the mud flood that never existed in my reality. And one sister, she's pretty smart, reality sliders, and she's in UK. She said those 3 pyramids never existed in her reality. 3 pyramids in Egypt never existed in her reality. I mean, how you kidding me? They're around for 1,000 years in ours. And she says she's from the Rhine Belt. Well, not to go on that. So I'm gonna stay on focus. I just want to know: do you think that you may have traveled time? Because there's a lot, even Spaced Out Productions, that young gentleman. He has a photograph of him sitting across from himself. He thinks looks exactly the same guy on a haystack near fall, like near Halloween. Photograph. Now I have photographs of me, like in Hawaii, that blows my mind. That was taken when I was like 20 years of age, standing in front of a bamboo rainbow bamboo tree, rainbow, like the blue, yellow, green. Everybody talks about all these rainbow things that shifted. I never stood in front of a rainbow trunk colored bamboo tree ever, and I have a photograph of that, and I'm like, you're kidding me. So how did that happen in my reality unless something changed or shifted? That one's a shocking one. My own photograph, and it has like purple, green, yellow on the bark. And I'm like, I would have known standing in front of. I happen to be, Hawaii. I just take photographs everywhere, right? I just happened to be standing in front of one because I remember actually, the shot kind of the area, and I was like, I want to get this photograph of me in Hawaii, near this green lush area, and now it has rainbow bamboos around it, rainbow stuff. Anyway, so I'm sorry all the time. So anyway, God bless y'all, and I just don't know. Don't have an answer. All right. Love y'all. Take care.